Hello, namaste, good morning, hola to all the brothers and sisters who are joining this young Indian Theosophist gathering, which has been conducted till now for over a year, but now this is the first time that Indian section is organizing and supporting this movement of young Indian Theosophists. So this is the first meeting that we have today organized by the Indian section. So on behalf of Indian section, we young Indian Theosophists welcome you all. And as you know, today we have a symposium. Actually, in the month of May, we have symposiums as per the discussion that we had earlier that it should be more participative. So we have symposiums in which there will be 3 speakers who will speak for 10 to 15 minutes each. And then in the last 15 minutes, there will be a discussion or question and answers or any feedback or comments from the participants. And today's speakers are Sister Smita Pragyan Patro, Brother Sairam Pate, and Brother Varun Ramakrishna. And the moderator is Sister Kritika Goyal. Sister Kritika Goyal will be joining soon. So in the meantime, let us start our meeting and with the universal prayer that we all do by coming together in heart and mind and invoke the presence of that immutable principle in which we live, we move, and we have our being. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom.
O hidden life, vibrant in every atom.
O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May all who feel themselves as one with Thee know they are therefore one with every other. Shant, Shant. Thank you once again, everyone. And as you know, today's theme for the symposium is developing mental and emotional quotient through Theosophy. And this was one of the reasons that we discussed to have themes like this, because very often we find today's generation that they want practical answers, practical solutions to their daily life, not just reading the books of theosophical literature or any spiritual literature, but they want the practical solutions of the problems, of the challenges in the daily life in which our thoughts, the mind, and the emotions play a very important part. And therefore, in these symposiums, you will find that the themes are very practical, very closely related to our daily life, especially the challenges of the youth, and which is applicable to everyone. And due to that, I think it's very important that our young members have come forward and sharing their thoughts on this very important theme. And with this introduction to the symposium today, the theme today, we have already done the universal prayer. Now I invite Sister Kritika Goyal to introduce the first speaker. that is Sister Smita Pragyan Patro. Kritika?
Sorry for the delay.
I don't know, it's okay. So we have done the prayer and introduction. So you can begin with introducing the first speaker, that is Sister Smita, and then we can follow from there.
Yes. So have you introduced the pattern of the meeting? That
Yes, I have introduced.
15 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would like to welcome the first speaker of the day, Sister Smita Pragyan Patro. Sister Smita Pragyan Patro is member of the Theosophical Society since 2006. She is president of Pythagoras Youth Lodge, UTF, and she has completed her BTech in biomedical engineering. She is now working as an application manager in Hyderabad. I would like to request Sister Smita Pragyan Patro to deliver her talk. Over to you, sister.
Thank you, Kritika. And thank you, Shikharji. And good morning to everyone. Namaste. And namaskaram and vanakkam. And now today's topic is developing mental and emotional quotient through Theosophy. So now, what is mental and emotional quotient? Mental quotient, as we all know, mental quotient is a degree or measure of one's ability to reason and solve problems, to learn and retain knowledge, and to understand facts. And emotional quotient is the ability to understand your emotions, use them in positive way, and to manage them. So before understanding how to develop mental and emotional quotient, we will understand our bodies. As we all know that we have 7 bodies. There are 7 bodies of man. So physical body, etheric body, astral body, lower mental body, higher mental body, then buddhic and atmic body. Physical body is what we see. This is our body. So this we can see that. And we do all type of physical actions through it. And astral body is subtle, and all kinds of desires and emotions arise in this body. Mental body is subtler, and thoughts arise from the body. Now, in simple words, mental quotient is our ability to understand our mental body and give our thoughts a right direction and think positively. An emotional quotient is our ability to understand our astral body, use our emotions in positive way, and manage our emotions and desires. So, how to develop the mental and emotional quotient? As today's topic is how to develop the mental and emotional quotient. So now the question comes, how we develop mental and emotional quotient? First, by positive thought, then self-awareness, then empathy, then positive emotions, and more importantly, keeping our physical body healthy. So now question says that how physical body is related with this, as today's topic, mental quotient and physical emotional quotient. So how physical body is related? Because keeping our physical body is necessary because all the bodies are interconnected. When our physical body works fine, our thoughts and emotions also become positive. But when our physical body is sick, we feel depressed and sad. So keeping our physical body healthy keeps our mental and astral body also healthy. Then we can think properly, we feel happy, we don't get overwhelmed by our emotions. So now comes to emotional body, means astral body. All kinds of emotions and desires arise from our astral body. But desires are good, but they cause suffering. Nowadays, we all are very ambitious. We desire for power, possessions, like social power, economical power, political power, even spiritual power. We want luxurious lives. And when we don't possess them, we get angry, we feel jealous. Then suffering comes into picture because we are overwhelmed or unable to cope with mental and emotional pressure. And the reason is our desires, which have no limits. We say, we always say, anytime, whenever any situation comes, then we say that I'm angry because someone or some situation made me angry. I'm hurt because that person did or said something which I didn't like. I'm depressed because things don't happen according to me. So, do you think it is someone or something that is the reason of my suffering? Really, no. In every situation, there is only one thing, that is I. Because I didn't get what I wanted. I didn't get what I expected. The person whom I loved, he or she didn't reciprocate as I wanted. So in every situation, there is only I. And because things didn't happen, I'm angry or sad or jealous. So now we could understand that when we blame others, we blame the situation for whatever happens to us because of our misery, our suffering. But it is not so. So I'll narrate one story for this. Once a monk decided to meditate alone, away from his monastery. There was a lake nearby. Monk decided to take a boat out there and meditate there alone. In the morning, monk takes his boat out and rowed it to middle of lake. Then he closed his eyes and begin his meditation. After a few hours of undisturbed silence, he suddenly felt a bump of another boat colliding with his own. Monk kept his eyes closed, but thinking about another boat, his anger started rising. Monk thought to himself that he came to lake so that no one would disturb him, and still here came another boat and bumps into his boat. This thought made him angry. Monk with his eyes closed, his anger rising, and by that time he was about to open his eyes, he was ready to scream at the boatman who dared to disturb his meditation. But when he opened his eyes, he saw an empty boat that probably untethered and floated to the middle of the lake. The monk understood that the anger is within him and it merely needs a bump of another external object to provoke it out of him. So this is the thing, what happens to us. Nobody is responsible for our any emotional outbreaks. Our emotions, we couldn't control them. Our thoughts, we couldn't control them. And that affects us. Same thing happens with our mental body. We think, understand, analyze. Because of our mind, we discriminate between right and wrong, important and unimportant, good and bad. But our lower mental body discriminates between right and wrong, but for the self. And the higher mental body discriminates between right and wrong, good and bad, for whole humanity. There is no I-ness. So how to develop the mental and emotional quotient? Answer is by understanding our emotions and replace them with exactly opposite positive emotions. Like when anger comes, we need to replace it with compassion, jealousy with kindness, selfishness with generosity, hatred with love. When we can able to control our emotions, we can think positively. And the higher mental body takes control over the lower mental body. We are able to do it because we are the spark of the divine flame. And when buddhi reflects itself through our mental body, we think selflessly. And when the reflection comes through astral body, our emotions are not personal. And Theosophy And now comes to how Theosophy helps us developing our mental and emotional quotient. So Theosophy has a very vital role in this, because Theosophy gives us so many more resources. We have at the feet of the master. We have light on the path. So from our light on the path, we know that Theosophy teaches us discrimination for mental body, desirelessness for astral body. I is the cause of all suffering. And to understand this, Theosophy tells us three things: study, meditation, and service. Study, to attain knowledge, to understand what is right, what is wrong. Though through deep study, we can understand the reality. We can know the law of nature. We can act properly. Without knowledge, without proper knowledge, we can't do action also properly. So Annie Besant quotes, I'm quoting that, knowledge is essential to conquest. Only according to our ignorance are we helpless. Thought creates character. Character can dominate conditions. Will creates circumstance and environment. When we study Theosophy and understand laws of karma, reincarnation, then we understand how laws of nature works. Then meditation comes. After study, we contemplate and train our astral body and mental body to accept things as they come to us. When we are always in the receiving mode, we enjoy every moment, and that is the state of complete awareness. And that is when we enter into the state of meditation. And that is the state when all desire dies and no self left. After 10 years of apprenticeship, a monk achieved the rank of Zen teacher. One rainy day, he went to visit the famous master. When he walked in, the master greeted him with question, "Did you leave your wooden clogs and umbrella on the porch?" "Yes," the teacher replied. "Tell me," the master continued, "did you place your umbrella to the left of your shoe or to the right?" The teacher didn't know the answer and realized that he had not yet attained full awareness. So we need to be completely aware about our every thought and every emotion. Every single, whatever we are thinking, a small thought or small emotion, that also matters. So when there is, because of that, awareness is necessary. To meditate properly, we need to be aware of our emotion. We need to be aware of our thoughts. When we are completely aware of things, what is going around, what is going inside us in every moment, whenever we are working, whenever we are having food, or whenever we are working, also we have to observe and being aware of our thoughts and emotions. So after that, when we are completely aware of ourselves, then there comes the unity. When we realize the truth, we realize the unity of life. There is no self left. When there is no self left, then we can serve selflessly. We can work for the whole humanity without expecting anything in return. That is called selfless service. And this is what Theosophy teaches us, how to develop mental and emotional quotient by study, deep study your own thoughts and emotions, then meditation, being aware of your thoughts and emotions, and service for whatever we have studied, to work on it and to understand it and to serve selflessly. Theosophy tells these three things. And thank you so much. And thanks for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Sister Smita Pragyan. Your talk was so soothing and so calm and so deep. Thank you so much. So moving on, I would like to invite Brother Sairam Pate for his talk. Brother Sairam Pate has done his master's in psychology, bachelor's in computer science, and diploma in banking operations. He has worked in banking sector for ICICI Bank and Standard Chartered GBS India. He's a certified career counselor and personality development trainer. He's passionate to help the young generation in choosing satisfactory career. In the journey of self-exploration, he joined Theosophical Society in 2018. He has been part of Workers Training Camp in Adyar 2019. He has delivered talks in 144th International Annual Conference 2020. He is a part of Ananda Lodge, Tade Paligudam, Administration and Functioning. He is spreading Theosophy in various educational institutions and lodges as Director of Propagation, Telugu Federation. With this, I would request Brother Sairam to deliver his talk. Over to you, brother.
Thank you for the introduction. Am I audible and clear?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us. The earlier presentation was by Smita. Ji is a very one-pointed, it is very simple and clear. And of course, I try to connect my way of presentation from Theosophy to the development of psychology. As I'm a psychologist, of course, I will be discussing more of the psychological words. But however, we try to understand from the point of Theosophy. As the subject says, developing mental and emotional quotient. In these two simple words, we can see what is the mental quotient and emotional quotient. Generally, in the outer world or the physical world, we deal with the body. Simply in understanding, we understand the world with the body. However, we cannot see the mind. The physical part is the brain, which we had this physical functioning, like the physical organs, and they have their own kind of duties, like the organs, the physical organs, like a heart, kidneys, and all these things. As a physical body, they have their own functioning. But however, they all collectively make us feel this world, understand this world, live in this world. In other words, react to this outer world. In one way, we collect information, we process the information, and then we react. This is the one simple understanding of the physical body, what we have now, and the interactions that are happening around. On the other sense, we have something that is mind. Generally, we do call it as a functioning. That is, we do not see it, but we can sense it, we can feel it. We know something is happening, but it is happening automatically. The things are automatic. When we drive a car, when we talk, even the language that we develop through the childhood, all these things will be some unconscious or the subconscious way. Simply, I will not go deeper, but however, I'll try to give some keywords that will help you to question yourself after this talk. This unconscious and the subconscious levels. The conscious levels that I am comparing to this physical world. However, the conscious is it is not that the same thing which we have to discuss, but however, to understand this conscious, unconscious and subconscious levels. On the conscious level, we know what is going in the physical world, what is going with our body, how we are talking. But however, there are something that, however, I will not think and talk that these words has to be spoken now. These I have to walk in this way, in the direction. These are all the automated things. In the same way, when coming to the Theosophy, in understanding human being and his function, we have some, we can understand that personality and individuality. The personality and individuality from the psychology point of view, uh, it is a standard way of personality. It is a standard, and these actions are somewhat permanent over the lifetime. Those sensations, how we react to, how the emotions are, these are all some standard things. But however, coming to the theosophy, which deals with the higher levels of consciousness and even collective unconsciousness, theosophy discusses human construction as 7 bodies. And even in during in Buddhism, they discuss the five human bodies, that is uh, uh, physical, astral, mental, buddhic, and nirvanic plane. The nirvana or the mukti is the last one. So in both ways, Buddhism and theosophy are dealing with the same. And however, it tells that there is lower level of consciousness and the higher level of consciousness. In that, and the lower bodies and the higher bodies, if you can see the theosophical logo, you have the lower triad and the higher triad. In some way, we can understand that this physical world, the physical functioning of the mind and the brain in this physical world as the lower level, and the other thing which I said, automated, unconscious, these are where our theosophical knowledge will comes into picture and play a vital role in developing the human being to the higher levels, and even developing the mental and the emotional quotients. In the physical world, we can develop through the practice. The more amounts of challenges we give to brain or the mind, then we develop in the lower levels. But as a physical human being, I can exhibit with the creativity terms, which depends on the previous knowledge, previous experiences, that gives you the newer options. That's how the creativity works in the physical world. But however, if you take from the point of theosophy, you have to evolve. From theosophical point of view, I discuss the points of Madame Blavatsky and the points developed from Annie Besant. My concentration on this talk are mostly taken from Besant and Blavatsky. Blavatsky ma'am suggests that the higher level, the higher bodies, where the buddhic and nirvana and higher mental body, you have to have the capacity to recognize vibrations. For feeling the lower world, the sensations, feelings, and the individuality, what we call, these are all happening, which you know. But however, to recognize these vibrations, the higher sensations, you have to have the right kind of environment, right kind of knowledge in perceiving and presenting these vibrations. For these kind of recognizing the vibrations, you have to follow the simple rules from theosophy, and even for the concentration in the physical world, Madame Blavatsky suggests about sattvic food and meditation. Sattvic food for the control over the lower body, that is lower triad, and meditation that help you in recognizing the vibrations and the emotions, that help you to understand the higher mental bodies or the higher triad. And coming to the Besant point of view, and even evolution in theosophy takes place from as the theosophy literature explains, from the as the monad, or the higher consciousness, or the consciousness which travels from the mineral kingdom to the vegetable kingdom and to the animal kingdom and to the human kingdom, or you can say human beings. As these levels of consciousness develops from mineral to the vegetable, that is from the utmost sleepy state to the where we can have some sensation in the vegetable kingdom, and the animals have these sensations, feelings, and they do not have emotional control. And as a human beings, as we grow, the conscious level grows, and we have the capacity to have emotional control. And I'm underlining the word, we have the capacity, but to open that capacity, and that is a different factor. But however, still the human being has the influence, has do not have the control, like the personality and the individuality which we spoke. The outer world, the human beings are reactive. They have to respond in the way that is dependent the world around. If we see the Ukraine and the Russian war is happening in one way or another way, we got impact, right? Like the food or the fuel prices, or the way we are seeing the news, all these things will be affecting the mental and the other capacities of as a human being. But if you can take the control over this, the body, the higher levels of consciousness, the higher level triad, if you can control your emotions, that are the base levels of emotions is the sensation and feelings, the way we sense, the way we perceive the world around, the way we feel the world around, that affect the emotions. And these emotions are the controlling factors that help you grow from the lower triad to the higher triad. With the practice of sattvic food, this help you control your sensations and the feelings. These will help you to concentrate during the meditation, which will help you recognize your vibrations, each vibrations at different levels of the body, at different levels of consciousness, which help you to unfold the unconscious world, the universal consciousness. That's how. And as said in the from the psychology point of view, if you can understand in simple words, if you can control your senses, the physical senses and the mental senses, the way we react to the outer world and the way we are perceiving the outer world, in some other words we can say positivity, the negative thoughts and the positive thoughts. Theosophy helps you develop positive thoughts, positive way of sensing the world, positive perceptions, and that's how you can develop the mental and emotional quotient through Theosophy. And I'll just take a paragraph from the emotion, intellectual, and spirituality from Annie Besant. Looking to the whole of our nature, we shall see how necessary the evolution of each planes is for the perfect growth, the perfect expression of self. If it has reached a point of where able to we give help to each the lower levels, such as the sensations and the feelings, it itself chiefly turning its attention, for we continually fail to recognize that itself the self in each of us, that we should be guiding force in our evolution, and thus which help the activities and evolve and develop in one incarnation, what line he shall follow in a particular birth. The self itself chooses the pathway along which it will go, and for that inner self to decide for its vehicles, which of them it will develop, along which path lies for its line the least resistance in the given birth. So that in all dealings of the great masters with the evolving humanity, this incarnation which it has in hand questions of means and methods, of times and seasons, exercisings, determining the force on the nature of the help. The times, the seasons, the exercises, the actions we do, all this will be depending on the nature of the help they give. And the many people would sometimes feel less discouraged, would in their judgment of their great work which goes on around them be better balanced, and would be seeing things more clearly if they recognize that the masters gives help in this way, that it is the most needed by the individual, and does not think for one moment whether in giving that help its nature may be misconstructed, or whether he may be thought to be more or less generous in his contact. He does not give what might bring him the greatest outrush of gratitude from the limited unconsciousness with which he is dealing. It often happens, therefore, that dealing with the man of keen intellect, great mental power, and the master give help which is never appreciated by that man during the whole of his incarnation. He helps him onwards in his intellectual growth, helps him to strengthen and to build more perfectly in his intellectual apparatus, not minding at all, making himself neglected, unhelped, or left on one side, but giving as all those do give, who stand as those high levels of heights of selflessness, the exact aid which is wanted by evolving self, quicken its evolution, the exact kind of successor which makes the final achievement. So thus theosophical knowledge, dealing with this light, we should become more compassionate, more tolerant, more charitable to the infinite diversity of evolution that we see around us on every side, more able to help our brothers, more grateful for the help that we ourselves receive. In simple words, as we are saying, if we can help out ourselves with the sattvic food, meditation, good levels of suffix, that is satsanga, these three levels that help us in the physical plane or the physical world, or help us control our physical brain, thus helps the mind to have control over the senses, feelings, emotions, and the thought, which help you. These controls will help the masters to access the master's help. Thus, you can achieve the mental and emotional quotient. In simple understand, in the psychological point of view, the mental, the world is how we react to the world, and emotional is control over the thought, in simple words. So to achieve these things, the three words, the sattvic food, meditation, and the satsanga would really help you. And the thought, with the thought only your actions will depend. The other Smita Pragyanji has said, the one thing that is the good help, the wholehearted help, the selflessness, these will help you to access help from the masters. Thank you all. That's all for today's presentation.
Thank you so much, Brother Sairam. So moving on, our next speaker for the day is Brother Varun. Brother Varun has done his master's in mechanical engineering. He has more than 12 years of experience in automotive industry. He was introduced to Theosophy by family. Grandparents were initially the members. He has participated in youth conference organized in Adyar in the year 2018 and 19. 2018 theme was yoga, and he had presented the topic on Jnana Yoga. 2019 theme was meditation and human regeneration, and he presented his talk on scientific studies and effects of practicing meditation. I would now request Brother Varun to deliver his talk. Over to you, Brother Varun.
Thank you, Kritika. Is my voice audible?
Yes, brother.
So I just have one slide. So I'll just share my screen. You should allow share screen sharing.
Shikazu.
Yes, you can do now, Varun.
Yes. So good morning, good afternoon. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so good morning, good afternoon to everybody. So with the interest of time, so let's go ahead. So as Smitha and Shairam Bhatt has touched upon this subject, so I'll try to give this slightly different aspect maybe. So we'll see how it goes. So when we look at life, when we look at life as when we look at life as just this physical body, so we all know this body goes through cycles, right? So we are born as a small child, so we grow up as kids and into the adolescence, so into the middle age, and then we go into the old age. So with respect to this physical body, there's some set of cycles. So we do not need any special intelligence to understand the cycle, right? Everybody can understand this. They can just sit where they are and just understand this. But similar to this physical body, even our mental and emotional aspects go through cycles, right? And very few of us are able to identify these mental and emotional aspects. So how frequently it repeats. So why does it repeat? So why am I not able to break this cycle of this repetitiveness and go beyond this, right? So very few of us are able to do it. So majority of us get caught in the cycles, especially this mental and emotional aspects, this cyclic aspects. The physical body, yes, we all know, we understand the cycle. But the other aspect, the mental and the emotional aspects also goes through cycles. Just to give an example, like suppose we have to go from a point A to point B, like between Bangalore, you have to go to Mumbai, and if you have to go from Bangalore to Mumbai, you have to pass through the city of Pune, right? So now I start my journey from Bangalore, I'm going towards Mumbai, so I reach Pune for the first time, and I said, okay, I've reached Pune. So I continue to go ahead in my journey after 2-3 hours. So again, I see that I'm in Pune. So then I think, okay, some mistake or some coincidence or something. So then I go ahead. So after 1 or 2 hours, I'm again seeing Pune. So then bad luck or something else, and we say, and we keep going on. So we are caught in this cycle. Same as the physical. So most of us are not able, we are not able to figure out why certain things. So when you're going from point A to point B and you're coming back to the same city again and again and again, that means you're not going anywhere. You're caught in that cycle and you think you're going somewhere, but actually you have not gone anywhere. So you're caught in this cycle. So this emotional and this mental aspects also work in cycles. So that is what I mean to put across. This view. So we all know that Theosophy has already taught us that this physical life is not just, this life is not just the body, right? So we have other dimensions to this body. Like we have other dimensions to the body, the same thing goes with the mental and the emotional aspect also. So we all know that thought, I think both Pita and Shairam has touched upon this planes, etc., but I'll not go into the depth, but I'll just make a point and move forward. So we all know that thought is a field of, it's a mental field, right? So thoughts can take us at the max to the lower mental or the higher mental. So beyond that, it's Buddhic, Atmic planes, and it is, that is something beyond the aspect of thought, right? So we may call it liberation, we may call it moksha, we may call it with whatever name we want, doesn't matter. But even at that stage, for the moment, we'll just assume that we are not much evolved to understand the Buddhist plane, just taking it for granted. So even at that stage, even at that Buddhic plane, these thoughts and emotions, even there, it may work in a cyclical pattern. I'm not sure, so that's why I'm saying it may or it may not. But the entire thing, the entire system, when we talk about the solar system, the earth, the moon, it is designed to work in cycles. So we may accept it, we may like it, or we may not like it, but this is a fact, so we need to go by the fact. So this is one thing that I wanted to say. The other dimensions that I'm telling. So when we talk about dimensions, when we talk about mental and emotional status, there is always two ways that we can look at it. So we can either grow in the mental and emotional aspects, or we can get caught. As I'm showing in this image, we can get caught and we can keep going in the same cycle, thinking that we're going somewhere, but actually we're not going anywhere. So that both, it can happen both in the mental and the emotional aspects. The same thing can happen to any individual for that matter. So when we talk of individuals, when we say a man and a woman, so women in this aspect, they have this mechanism in the physiological body with respect to the menstrual cycle, right? So I have this cycle that happens every 29.13 days, etc., depending on cycles of the moon. So women have this menstrual cycles. That's a physiological phenomena that is triggering a psychological change. It may have some emotional and mental aspects. Something different goes through, but this is a repetitive cycle which happens every month in case of a woman. It's not a curse. It's actually if you're more aware, or if you're able to if there is a way you can handle these things, because any sort of volatility or any sort of destabilization in the system, it's actually a possibility. It's actually a possibility to change. So women inherent physiologically, so there is this kind of an alarm in their body to say that, okay, my mental and psychological aspects are like this because physiologically something is happening. It's set. It's for a different purpose. That physiological thing has to happen. It has a bigger purpose, so it has to happen. So I'm not getting into those aspects, but in general, in female body, it's embedded. It's like an alarm. It reminds you. So you're aware that, okay, my emotional and mental aspects are because of this physiological thing, etc., etc. But for men, there is no cycles. There is no menstrual cycles, right? So we have to be more aware. We have to be more focused to understand why certain kind of emotions, why certain kind of thoughts come again and again. It may happen to women. It's not just the menstrual cycles. Apart from menstrual cycles, we all go through so many set of emotions, so many set of thoughts. It keeps repeating for us. For some it repeats every 6 months, for some it repeats 9 months, for some it repeats after 3 years, for some 6 years. So problem is we are not aware. So certain things happened at our child age. We had a set of thoughts, we had certain set of emotions. So we went through that, then we went to college. Again, maybe a slightly different, a different set of a variation of the same set of thoughts, or variation of same set of emotions that we had during our childhood. We experience it in our college, then we pass through, then marriage, after marriage, again, same set of thoughts, emotions, we pass through. We don't try to understand why this is happening, why this set of cycles are repeating, right? So that's the problem. So inherently in women, any kind of destabilization, that's what I'm saying, any kind of destabilization or volatility, there is always a possibility to change, provided we understand that certain things are repetitive. Why this? We don't question, we don't think that, we just give it a name, okay, it's bad luck, or okay, we can come out of this. We just move on. But to be very honest, I think if we sit back and think, we will realize to ourselves that certain set of thoughts and emotions, it repeats itself. So the moment we are aware, only then we can break the cycle and come out of the cycle. And even it's very uncanny. I mean, it's very strange, sometimes very difficult to understand. So even physical things can repeat itself in life. I think death is one of the biggest, such a vast subject. I just give you one example, like take a grandfather, son, and a grandson, right? So grandfather at the age of 50, he has an accident and he passes away. So when the grandfather passes away, his son, he is about the age of 20 years, right? So then he has passed away. So then son grows up, so he gets married and he has a kid, and he passes away when he is at the age of 50. And this grandson, now he is at the age of 20. I think you can relate, right? Some of the physical aspects also repeat, but it's very, very difficult to explain why it repeats, how it repeats. So it's very uncanny. That's what I'm saying. If we pay attention, if we observe, so we will be able to identify this cycle. So that's what I wanted to put this across. So the long story short, so whatever it is, right? The Earth, the Moon, the solar system, this universe, this galaxy, everything works in a cyclic pattern. We like it or does not like it. So that's that's a different story, but we have to accept it because it's a proven fact. So the biggest cycle, now we come, the biggest cycle that a solar system experiences is 144 years. And that's why at the end of every 144 years, so we have this Mahakumbh Mela in India. That happens once in 144 years. That's the biggest cycle. There are smaller cycles like 12 years. That's called Purna Kumbh. It happens once in 12 years. There's Ardha Kumbh, which happens once in 6 years. And there are various cycles. The biggest cycle is 144. The smallest, it comes to 12 years, 6 years. I think the same thing, it's all scientific. That's what I mean to say. It's all scientific, as above, so below, we are saying, right? So there are some events happening cyclically there. The same thing happens as the same thing controls us here today. It goes on. Problem is the sensors, through our sensors, we are not able to see those things. These forces or whatever is controlling us, it's not visible. It's beyond our five senses. So that's why most of us, we fail to recognize, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. No? That's what I mean to say. If you take whatever it is, the moon, the cycle, whatever you take, it's all cyclic. It's so beautifully designed. This entire solar system, galaxy, everything is cyclic. And there are no accidents. Have you ever seen any accidents in this between the planets or anything? It keeps on coming. Sun comes out daily, same time. And imagine if the sun does not come out, has it happened anytime? So it's so systematic. It's so cyclically designed. So everything follows, be it the flow of current, your heartbeat, the waves that go through your mind, the alpha, beta, theta, whatever we call, everything is cyclic, everything is rhythmic. So long story short, so why am I telling about all these cycles? How is it related to this topic? So depending on how unaware we are, so depending upon how unfocused we are, so how destabilized we are, we become available to the cycles. So the more unfocused we are, the more destabilized we are, we become available to the lower cycles. The cycles which happen every 3 months or every 6 months or every 9 months. The more stabilized we are, the more focused we are, the more aware we are. So we become available to the bigger cycles. So the biggest cycle that we are aware in this solar system, at least for the moment, is 144 years. So it all depends on us. We have all the sorts of energy, and the environment around us can support us to break this cycle and come away. Right? So when we talk of these cycles, we can think of it as two ways, right? We can either get caught in the cycles, as I'm showing in the first image above here, or there is a chance to transcend, go to the higher cycle. It's a very interesting figure, the spiral thing, which I'm showing. There's a lot of details. Maybe we can go in detail on some other day. It's very interesting, this symbol. So the point is, yeah, we can break these cycles provided we are aware. We have all the energy, we have all the capacity, as Sairam was mentioning, to break these cycles and move away. So now the main difference between astronomy and spirituality is this. Astronomy tells us how these cycles bind us. How the cycles bind us. The spirituality tells us how to get away from the cycles. And Theosophy is spiritual, right? So now I'm bringing the aspect of Theosophy here. So what Theosophy, as Smita and Sairam Pata has mentioned, it starts from at the feet of the master, where the base is stabilized. For any person to be more stable, these are the aspects, differentiation between good, bad, the right, wrong. So these are the things. So it starts from there. It goes and teaches about death and after. It goes on, and it talks about the Buddhic planes, the Atmic planes, etc., etc. It trying to still understand that. So my point is, everything is filtered out. Everything is filtered out, and it's given to us. Comparative study of so many religions, all put across, given to us. And you may call it mysticism, you can call it esoteric, or you can call it occult. Even that is simplified, filtered, given to us. So what more you want? You have the spiritual aspects, you have the scientific aspects, you have clubbed together, and Theosophy has given so much literature. At least theoretical point of view, there is so much to learn. Does not matter at what stage of evolution we are. We may be a person who was caught in that circle, or we may be a person who have broken that cycle and we have evolved. No matter which stage we are, there is enough literature in Theosophy, combined spiritual and scientific aspects put together to help man at any stage of evolution. So that is where I think Theosophy can help, provided we read it, we grasp it, we understand in the way it has to be understood, and more importantly, finally implement it. So if we are able to do it, so we can go beyond the cycles. That's all. I think this point of view I was able to put across it. I'm sorry if I've taken more time, but this is what I wanted to tell. I think, yeah, I think I can close my talk. I think things were clear. What I was able to, what I wanted to explain, I think, hopefully, I made it very clear.
Yes, thank you so much, Brother Varun. So now I would like to invite all the three speakers. If please stop screen sharing.
Yeah.
You know, after listening to all of you, I feel like as young members, we are discussing about mental and emotional quotient. I mean, this topic is so appropriate at our current scenario, at our current age, and at our current state of being. And anyone who is watching this or will be watching this on YouTube will definitely get help from this. So thank you so much, Sister Smita Pragya, Brother Varun, and Brother Sairam. And I thank the one who has especially chosen this topic. So thank you so much. And now I would like to open the forum for any questions or any suggestions. And starting with, I would like to invite Brother Shastri. He wanted to share something. Brother Shastri. Yes.
Hello, good morning to all brothers and sisters. Am I visible now? Audible?
Yes, so you're audible.
Yes. I wanted to share some points, especially about emotional intelligence, or you call it emotional quotient, to make it more understanding to all people. Emotional intelligence, or otherwise known as emotional quotient, is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. This is how we have to understand. How Theosophy helps in this way means we have to follow the four steps. That is discrimination, dispassion, character, love. These are the 4 points. Once we understand about the use of all these things, we can put it in a better way. And one more point I want to tell you is emotional intelligence is the ability to understand. I have already told you. How can we make it understand? How can we make ourselves understand? We have discussed so many things about cycles and other things. Only educated people can understand. How a common man can understand, that we have to think. For that, one has to walk on the path. That is a must. He must learn more about discrimination. He has to develop self-awareness. That is a must. If he develops self-awareness, he can understand himself. He can probe himself into his own personality. Thereby, his consciousness widens. That enables us to understand more and more things. Last point I want to tell you is one more thing I want to tell you is about The emotional quotient, there is a book called by Daniel Goleman. This is a wonderful book on emotional intelligence. One has to go through it. And we get so many points from the point of view of psychology as well as theosophy. Because we are theosophical students, we can understand how we can integrate the knowledge of theosophy and emotional intelligence. Thereby we can put it in a simple way and make it understand by many people. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity, Sister Kritika. Thank you. On 17th, I put you in trouble. Pardon me for that.
Oh, thank you so much, Brother Shastri. So, moving on, if we have any questions or suggestions.
Pardon?
Thank you, Brother Shastri.
Yes, I understood, sister. Tell me anything.
No, I was asking if anybody else has any question from the three of our speakers.
Yes. Now, for all these young theosophists, I want to ask one thing. That is, how you can put this intelligent quotient or emotional quotient to understand by themselves. How can you make by using knowledge of theosophy? That is a little bit challenge for us. We have to make it so simple that it can be understood. But with the scientific analysis is very different because it requires matter to be grasped by the heart, core of the heart. That's very, very important. In Voice of Silence, we have to learn by thought only, by heart, as Madam Blavatsky says. That's very, very important. So you have to make your heart awaken so that you will grasp it, and then you can put it in simple way and understand it everything. So how these present this office, that is young brothers, can help public. Good morning, sister.
Yes, Brother Varun, you want to say something about this?
Yeah, one way maybe, yeah, that's what we all, as I explained in the same terms in what I explained, I'll try to explain. So if we all go through different phases of highness or lowness, so, but we fail to recognize that something which has happened before, the same things are happening now, but we give it a different name and we pass on. So that is a problem. So when we pass on, we are not learning. So when we recognize something is happening again, there is a reason why it is happening again. There is something to learn out of it. So if you give a name as bad luck or coincidence or something and you pass on, well, you can pass on. Still life goes on. It doesn't matter. But the situation comes again. So at least that time you have to again think, why is it coming again and again? So only when we know that something is coming back again and again and again, only then we will think. If we are not at all thinking in that direction, if we just say that it is happening because it has to happen, so we will not learn, we will not evolve. So that is the first starting point. So you be aware of yourself. So when something is repeating on and on and on, it means that life has something. You have come here, that life has something that I have to learn because of this situation. So if I learn that, I am out of that cycle. If I'm not learning that, again I'm caught in that cycle. I think.
Yes. Thank you, Brother Varun. Anybody else from you want to answer this, or shall we move on? No, Brother Sairam, you're not audible.
Maybe now I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah. To add to that, you have to, like, if any person, as said by Varun, I want to, like I said, I mentioned the points of perceiving. Every individual has different levels of perceiving, like as I differentiated this presentation from the physical world to the mental world, and Smita Pragyan has a different point of view and Varun has a practical point of view. I really appreciate Varunji for every time you are getting examples very close to the understanding, and the point where you have mentioned the cycles, the cycles which are repeating, and after the recognizing what is going with us every cycle, so we have to go to the next level. That is where the spiral has come. When you learn something new, when you increase your capacity of understanding the problem, then you will go to the out of the cycle, you will go to the upper spiral. So still, okay. So then again the learning come, the cycle, you will come to the other point of the cycle, that is a higher level cycle, you will reach another point. So then at that point, again, you have to increase the capacity, increase the level of understanding of the problem. And then you will jump out of the cycle, you will enter into the upper spiral, the next spiral. Again, you reach to a point where you have to increase the level of understanding, increase the level of capacities. And then this is the second one point which I want to add. And the other point which I was like, from the female point of view, we have it starts at an age and it ends at an age. It is a 20 years only the cycle is. However, the example is good, but however, female has it is human itself. Even male has a cycle, but however, it is a good example. Perfectly, I'm very happy that to understand the physical construction, it is a wonderful example. But however, I just want to make a note that it is not the permanent cycle which is for a female, but it is a very, for a limited point of time they experience. But however, every human being has cycles. I agree to that. And every cycle we have to understand, we have to learn to move to the next levels. That's all what I want to add.
Thank you, Brother Sairam. I see M. Harinath, Brother M. Harinath is raising hand.
Hi, is it audible?
Yeah, it is audible.
Yeah, actually that was a wonderful session by all of the speakers. I do have two questions here. Like first question is, why do I need to control my emotions? And the second question is, like, I really don't understand the concept of cycles that are playing in terms of controlling or seeing the emotions. Is it like you want to tell like these emotions are happening in cycles, or these emotions happened as a flash? These two things I really don't understand. Could you please clarify on these two things?
So anybody can answer this.
See, as above, so below, we were talking about, right? So everything, just because our senses can't identify it, doesn't mean that these forces are not there. So we all know that the planets are revolving, rotating, and whenever they do that, they're releasing a lot of energy, a lot of rays, electromagnetic rays, which we cannot see from our eyes, which we cannot perceive from any of the five senses. Same things. No, we may say alpha, beta, theta when we talk about the brain, right? We have alpha, beta, theta waves that are inside our brain. So pineal gland, we talk about so many things, pineal gland, pituitary gland, so many chemicals released inside our brain. So all these operate at a certain frequency. So we all know that waves, electromagnetic waves have a certain frequency. So some have low frequency, some have high frequency. Similarly, our brain is also producing waves that are high frequency, low frequency waves. So when there are certain changes happening astronomically through the planets, etc., there are all these waves coming to the Earth also. So all these waves have their effect on Earth. So we are all living on Earth, so we also experience that. The problem is we cannot perceive it, we cannot sense it. But when the frequency of our brain, whatever frequency, it matches with the frequency of that wave, so we become available to that cycle. So if you are a negative person, if you are not able to control your emotions well, so you are at we just call it a lower frequency. So there are similar frequencies outside, so that controls you. So you tend to respond to that lower frequency. So that lower frequency, it may make you more negative or it may do whatever it is, we don't know. So that is why we need to control our emotions. So we know, yes. So on the other hand, if we are at a higher frequency, lower frequency does not affect us, because we all know resonance, right? We have all heard of resonance. So when two frequencies meet, there is a resonance. Two frequencies do not meet, there is no resonance, right? So when the low
So, Varun, sorry to,
process. So suppose if we are at a higher frequency and something of a lower frequency is trying to disturb you, it cannot disturb you because you are already at a higher frequency. When a higher frequency matches with higher frequency, there is resonance. So you go still higher. So that is why you need to control these emotions. So the other question was, I think I answered both to some extent.
sorry to interrupt you, Varun. Actually, it means like emotions have certain frequencies you are calling out. Or these emotions happened at an instant, like it happens at an instant phase, like, or will it come into resonance with the frequencies of the nature you are calling out, right? But I generally don't see that my emotions actually coordinate or cooperate with the emotions of the nature, but it happens instant, right? If I feel anger, it just comes out like at an instant way. It is not even responding to the nature or the things happening outside, but it is coming from my inside, right? So I really like missed out the clarity between the frequency of the nature or frequency of the solar system that connects the frequencies of my emotions. That I really don't understand.
It's both ways, not always the external controlling you.
Mm-hmm.
It's both ways. It's how you, as Sairam Patel, we are always reactive.
Mm-hmm.
So what you develop, we are always reactive. So how we have been brought up, what surroundings, what external situations that we have been brought up, so that stays there. So that control, that it's instantaneous. If you are a person who gets angry very fast, so you cannot take it away very easily. Cannot take it away. You cannot change that within a year or two, right? It takes time. So
No, that is my question, Varun. Varun, that is my question. Why do I want to change my emotion? Why do I need to control my emotion? It is inbuilt, right? It's an instinct process. What is the necessity of changing that emotions? Can we change that? I think we can't change it. It is until death. We can't change it, right? We can only regulate it for certain kind time of degree. For certain degree, we can regulate, right? We can't even take it out from the roots. If is it possible? And how can it is correlated to the frequencies of the nature? It's just be. I really didn't. I really don't see the connectivity between the internal and outer world for these.
Brother Sairam wants to answer this.
Yes. That's a wonderful question. But however, as we have to understand, Varunji had his point he's saying it is, of course it is true, but as I'm telling you, every person has his own point of view. We have to respect that, and as we human beings, as I'm saying, stones have consciousness. Recently, there is an incident in Hyderabad where you have Kajagoda rocks, which are more than 250 million old Kajagoda rocks. They had a separate kind of constructions. Okay, where how does it form? Stones have consciousness. Vegetable kingdom has consciousness. That is like plant kingdom has consciousness, that is proven by J.C. Bose. And humans has consciousness. And why these emotions comes into picture? How comparing to the I'm supporting the answer of cycles. Emotions are triggered. Human beings exhibit emotions because they sense, they feel. These are the faculties given at the human body level. It has to be done. It has to be cyclic. But however, if you go to LKG, you learn alphabet, but however daily you do not use alphabets. You speak language after some time at a level like intermediate level, at a graduate level, at a PhD level, when you learn. And why we have to control emotions, as you have mentioned, Harnath ji, you regulate your you mentioned that you regulate emotions. Why we regulate emotions? Because for the what you can for the peace of the world, for our daily living, to match with the frequency of the other human beings. As a family, we do have a different frequency. Every human is different in at the ground level. At the physical world, every human is different. Father is different, mother is different in his point of views, in his understanding. Son has a different, because in the physical world he has a lower capacities as an infant, as a child, as a adolescent or the young person, and he becomes the adult as he grows. So with these different like if a father communicating to the infant or a child, his emotional reactions will be different. The way he treats his child is different. When he communicate with his partner or the friend, these levels of communications, see, for example, if you get angry, how a father reacts to his child is different. How his father reacts to the friend, or how this father reacts to the friend or the wife is different. You are regulating your emotions, or you are accessing your emotions, you are exhibiting your emotions in a different way for this different world. But when you are experiencing emotions inside, if you can feel your emotions inside, if you can like for example recognize your emotions, recognize the vibrations as said by Blavatsky and Annie Besant, if you can understand your levels of consciousness at different levels, if you can think as a stone, your access will be different. If you think as a vegetable kingdom, everything is in our human body, because if only the human kingdom or the human being has the access to all kind of emotions, and the human beings has the capacity to go beyond this cycle, or go beyond the lower triad to the higher triad. And the other thing which the physical limitedness is that I-ness. Recognizing that uh, 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 putting ourselves in the continuous cycle, continuous emotions. This I-ness will limit you. But if you can open, as said, if you can communicate everything with a smile, leave everything, every negativity, you do not want to react at all. You just be in this, in your world, in your higher world. Yes, as said, as I mentioned, Ukraine war, fuel prices, no, you are completely, you go beyond that level. That buddhic plane, using the buddhic and the nirvana, there is no point of emotions at all. These emotions will not come into picture at all when you go to the higher level. If you can access the collective unconsciousness. Other point which I want to add from the Varun's present is, sun doesn't what you can say, he doesn't come and go. It is the earth where you are accessing sun. You are accessing sun at the morning. He will be present, he will be for the 12 hours in the during the earth's rotation or the revolution. You will be accessing sun. From the other side of point of view, it is night. Sun is the constant one. Even the universal consciousness and even the solar systems are different, the higher levels. So in a limit, I request every person in this chair or in this group, we have limited point of time. We have to respect others' point of view, and the discussion should be healthy and minimal, so that we will have something to grasp and we will make our own thoughts at the different levels. So emotions and the cycles, yes, they are cyclic. Emotions are there because as you are a human, you have, and we have limited capacities for the sensations, which I have mentioned in the Buddhism, based on the human senses. Eye has a limiting capacity, visual spectrum. Ear has some capacity. Our senses has absolute threshold and difference threshold. These all the things we have. These are the bigger concepts to understand. But basically, these
So,
cycles, these emotions, the solar system or whatever the minimal cycle, for the daily life, they are designed for the daily life and the comfortable for the human kingdom or the any group to survive. These cycles are important. As said, you are not consciously talking, you are not consciously walking. These are all automated things. As a human being, if you can access the capacity to regulate, to control, to recognize, there comes the difference. You enter to the higher levels.
hey, Sairam, sorry to interrupt here. I'm really sorry. So you want to tell like these emotions are cyclic, right? For suppose today morning at 7:30 I feel anger. Tomorrow morning exactly at 7:30 I feel again anger. That becomes a cycle, right? So is it like it is coming like instant?
Time
Like
is a dimension. You are speaking in a time as a physical factor, but however, it is not the human brain. Our biological cycle is different from the universal cycle.
no. What is emotions?
Situations.
How emotions are connected with which cycle? Like biological cycle or psychological cycle?
I think Smita also, Pragna also want to speak something. Please speak, and then I will also put for this question.
So,
It's all right. Taralji, you can speak.
no, Sister Smita,
No, please speak.
then Taral sir will speak what he wants to speak, and then we'll just wrap up the session.
Yeah.
So, Brother Harinath, your question is how the emotions are connected with your physiological or physical or any other side effects. You are saying, right? What you are asking?
Actually, I'm asking like emotions won't be in cycles. It is an instant thing. Like it happens very instantly, and as a flash, it happens. As a flash, it happens. It's not happens in terms of cycles. And if you say it is a cycle, it happens in the same pattern, right? It happens. For suppose if it happened today, again it will happen tomorrow, right? But it is not the case in terms of emotions. It happens instantly, and it happens in as a flash. It is coming, right? But it is not happening as a cycle. That is my point.
Time is not the cycle here exactly. Here, the cycle means the situation which I am getting irritated or getting anger or anything, any emotional breakouts come because of any particular instance or any particular situation. If that thing happens again, that is the cycle.
Correct.
When we get irritated or emotional, any emotional outbreaks, that is the cycle we call. This is not the time cycle. This is a cycle of what is happening, the situations, the instances.
Mr. Kritika, shall I share this point?
Yes.
Shall I share?
Yes, sir. Just Taral sir, you wanted to say something.
What is the cycle of emotion? I want to make it clear to you. By choosing to express your thoughts, feelings, and experiences, you are making a decision to let go of fear, anger, and hurt. By expressing yourself, you release many bodily hormones that help you to feel good about yourself, which in turn build your self-esteem. That is what emotional cycle. So, to understand all these things, we must have a thorough understanding about the functioning of various bodies in our body, physical body. Then slowly we can understand. There are types of how do you complete an emotional cycle? There is one more question. And what are the four components of emotion? What are the 5 categories of emotional intelligence? Who created the emotional cycle of change? How does the emotions wheel work? These are various questions we have to discuss, but I think time won't permit us now. A lot has to be learned. Sister Kritika, better we must have one more group discussion on this point so that we can share our understandings with each other.
Yes, sir, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, Hari.
Yeah, Nautal also wanted to
Yeah,
say.
quickly I will add. Harinathji, your question was why one has to control emotions. But I think you only answered that emotions cannot be controlled. What you said that it happens instantly. So if you have 5 instances in a day, they consider it as a 5 cycle of emotion. Simple. Okay, whatever the big books or other things definitions are saying, you have to experience that definition in daily life. Automatically everything will flow. Your question is very vital, that
Yeah.
you are
Yep.
comparing the cycles with the timeline, like I think Smita also, but it is the happening of emotions which will be uneven. Please hear me out before any questions. Now currently you are having emotion of questioning. Why? Because you want to know something. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
now that is you are actually your you want to go to an upper plane, like Mr. Sairam Pete said, or Varun gave the example of that moving things. So you already are into that flow of growing. Okay, that is the one thing. And if you have to understand emotions which comes instantly, that means that your heart and mind both are working in the parallel line. Somebody has said, think from your mind, but act with your heart. So emotion has these two questions. One is mind and one is heart. Without that, no mother can feel an emotion for a child. No child can feel an emotion for a mother. Now, this very simple example I am giving, because if you will view this entire talk of today with a simple emotional happening again and again, that is called the cycle of emotion. It is never the same. Like in rainy season, we have cycles of rain. Okay, sometimes it's shower, sometimes it's thunder, sometimes it's that. Now we can't say, we can't control its timing, but we can feel it. Okay, how you can feel it? That if it is raining heavily, you will go with an umbrella. So your thought a level higher. Okay, if it is as if you don't have an umbrella and suddenly the rain stops, sunlight comes, you will run to your whatever is the goal of that day. So these small happenings every day are the growth pattern which I think Sainam was talking. But when we have not read, and when we have not read that particular definition, we cannot understand it, because it is written by that writer after experiencing it. So what I say, suggest you, Mr. Renar, that I am a writer. So what I write is from what I see or what I have felt. So
From your
similarly, when
experience.
you develop inside a person who is a writer of your own life, you will automatically find this solution, and in the next meeting you will come out with 5 answers. Negative and positivity. There is nothing like negativity and positivity. Vivekanand ji has said one sentence. The day you think you do not come across a problem, think you are trotting on the wrong path. So today you have problem of questions, you are on the right path, sir. Find answers yourself, gather all the knowledge which you have, which everybody has said today, and with an open mind, try to fit yourself inside and find answer. You will be the writer of your own destiny. I promise you.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. There are many
Thank.
things, but time is not permitting. So I think, and also one important message by some Parappa, that unless one undergoes the real experience, it is a little begold. It is difficult to understand emotion quotients. That's what I have also tried to explain. All the best, and think positive. Whenever you think that there is a problem, you will find a solution. That is positive thinking. Simple. Problems will come. If they do not come, we are on the wrong path. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tarun sir.
Actually, I got the point, but the thing is, like, instead of using it as a cycle, can we use the word continuity? That is, I feel much better.
Both
I
are
think it's
Both are
continuity is different of cycle, right? Cycle happens in same patterns, whereas continuity happens not in exactly in the same pattern. So that bothers me. The word bothers me. That is the thing. That apart from that, I understand the concept. Thank you very much. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you so much, everybody. Now we are
When you break the cycle, you will enter into the continuity. All the best for you, brother. So we close the session, right?
So, Sister Sublina, are you there?
Yes,
Okay, so let us sit in meditation for a minute and then we'll proceed.
Before we get into the meditation and close the session, I thought I should do a joyful announcement.
wow.
Our moderator Kritika will observe her birthday tomorrow. I think this is a good time. We should say her a happy birthday and clap for her, and then we can go for meditation with joyful thoughts and send some thoughts for her. Happy birthday, Ginny.
Happy birthday, Kritika. The emotions on your face are telling how happy you
happy
are.
birthday to Sister Kritika.
Now this is
Okay.
the uncontrollable cycle.
Now we can meditate.
Hope, yeah.
So let us sit in meditation. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukh Bhag Bhave. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much to all the three speakers, and thank you so much to all the participants. So let us meet next week, same time and same place. Please be safe till then and enjoy every day. Bye bye.